Our next presentation will be from Julia Wilcox, virtually, defining a radiation oncology observership curriculum via the Delphi method.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julia Wilcox again, and I'm a clinical research coordinator at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston. And I'm looking forward to sharing our work on defining a radiation oncology observership curriculum using the Delphi method. Okay, oops, let's go back one slide there. So as it stands now, medical students do not receive much in terms of formal exposure to radiation oncology during undergraduate medical education. And this sometimes leaves medical students who may otherwise be interested in radiation oncology without really an opportunity to explore it. And then on the other hand, medical students who will ultimately end up practicing within a different medical specialty and treat patients with a comorbid cancer diagnosis would also likely benefit from a basic understanding of radiation oncology. So brief observerships of less than 1 week or micro clerkships are one possible way to fill this gap. And so with this project, we aimed to establish expert consensus for radiation oncology observership duration, target audience, goals, objectives, and curriculum. So this is just a quick graphic to get a visual representation of our process. I'll go into further detail shortly, but essentially we sent a total of 4 surveys via email, starting with a needs assessment. And we then developed preliminary observership elements and began a 3-round Delphi process before finalizing our list of elements to be included in the observership. The needs assessment was actually created with the assistance of ROECSG members and was sent out to medical student clerkship directors to understand really the demand for radiation oncology observership and see what those essential elements might look like. And this then allowed for the creation of the observership framework and a preliminary set of 7 goals, 5 objectives, and 4 curricular items. So the 7 Delphi participants were all full-time faculty at academic medical centers, and specialties included radiation oncology, of course, but also transplant surgery, radiology, and internal medicine. We really wanted to include specialties outside of radiation oncology to ensure varied perspectives were taken into consideration with this. And we asked our participants to rank these goals, objectives, and curricular items for either inclusion or exclusion on a Likert scale, with options that ranged from definitely include to definitely exclude. And so the threshold for observership elements to achieve consensus and then be included in the next round was 83% of participants, or 6 out of 7, had to choose an inclusionary option. Otherwise, that element would be up for review by the study team. And surveys also assessed the optimal target audience and duration for the observership, and the consensus for these was based upon a majority opinion. So our preliminary results, so from the first 2 Delphi rounds, served to clarify the target audience and the duration. The results of the first survey indicated that 3rd-year medical students would be the optimal target audience for the observership. And the second survey was completed under the assumption of an observership that was targeting 3rd-year medical students. The result of the second survey showed that 3 to 5 days would be the ideal duration. And then the 3rd and final survey was completed under the assumption that this brief observership would be 3 to 5 days long and focus on 3rd-year medical students. Okay. So we've actually now completed the 3rd and final survey as well, and so this is going to summarize the final elements to be included in the proposed observership. And starting with the goals, compared to the initial set of observership elements, 1 goal was eliminated, and the goal that's here in bold had the phrasing altered. So the goal that was eliminated was regarding the visualization of the diverse team in radiation oncology. And the goal that's in bold here, understanding radiation therapy mechanisms, was rephrased from gain fundamental understanding of radiation therapy to develop a basic understanding of how radiation works as a cancer therapy. And just to note, the phrasing of the observership elements listed on screen here is not really exact, but rather just slightly shortened to more easily view the summary. Okay, so back one. So moving on to the objectives. Consensus was actually achieved for the objectives without changes needing to be made. So we did start and end with these 5 objectives you see on screen here. And for the curricular items, 2 of them were ultimately combined before consensus was achieved in the 3rd and final Delphi survey. This is noted in bold. So a curricular item about a day of lecture prior to clinic was combined with a separate item regarding an informational video about radiation oncology to be watched before clinic. And so the combined item represented a recorded lecture that could also be done in person depending on institutional capabilities or preferences. Moving on to just a few limitations here. One, although comparable to previous Delphi studies in the literature, one of the limiting factors for our study was a small sample size, and so conclusions were drawn based upon the opinions of a smaller group of people. And furthermore, we had a response rate of 71% in the final round, so it's possible that higher response rate may have produced different results. And finally, a consensus threshold of 83% means that while the items that were included were of high importance, a significant weight was placed upon the opinion of any singular individual, as everyone but one was required to select an inclusionary response for the first 2 rounds and all for the 3rd round. So after carrying out this study, we're really hoping that our results can help to guide the establishment of such observerships for radiation oncology. And we recognize that there's likely a few challenges that would come with this. So one of which may be overcoming limited time in existing curricula. And possible solutions could include the observership maybe being integrated into a existing required 3rd-year rotation, like surgery, internal medicine, or radiology, or potentially offering a standalone 3 to 5 day elective. And additional challenges might include something, like finances, departmental leadership buy-in. So ensuring that participating departments really strongly value and prioritize education would be critical to the success of this observership in practice. And ultimately, including this proposed brief observership could enhance exposure to radiation oncology during undergraduate medical education for all participating medical students. And with that, I would just like to thank each of the team members involved in this project, as well as you all for listening, and would welcome any questions or comments that you might have.